So welcome everyone. Today we're continuing. We started a 4-session series on the four immeasurables, and today we're continuing with loving kindness. 2 weeks ago we did compassion, and I guess just a little recap from the email that love really lays the foundation for all that arises in reality, and Phuntsok will, of course, explicate that wonderful statement. There's a few ways to donate. These sessions are for free/donation. I'll put them in the Slack. They're Patreon, Venmo, and PayPal, I believe. And just everybody knows everything, but just to say it, and in case you're watching on YouTube, Patreon is a really wonderful way to keep a consistent donation to help these sessions continue. They are informed by Phuntsok's 20 plus years as a Buddhist monk and his 10 plus years teaching out of his apartment in Brooklyn and now on Zoom for the last 5 years since COVID. So it's been quite a journey, and it's been a long, wonderful experience to be with Phuntsok during these last decade or more. So with that, I will pass it over. And yeah, am I missing anything? I hope not. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. So let's, as we are diving into it, so we're going to do the meditation in the beginning, and then the talk, and if we have time, and then we close with the meditation at the end. Okay. Since the aim of all of this has always been practical applications rather than philosophical musing. I also want you to have experiences of meditation that you find that gives you practical application that are relevant to your life. So let's begin the meditation. Form the intention to enter meditation. Allow the inner parts, the inner dimensions to define what meditation is. So there's no need to hold on to any conscious definitions of, I'm going to meditate, it means this. So just say meditation, hold the intention, and be open to the different dimensions of you, the physical, the energetic, the emotional, the conceptual, the non-conceptual, all the different dimensions of you. Allow them to respond. Allow them to respond to their, according to their own understanding of what is meditation. And once in a while, you will feel the communication coming from one of these dimensions, giving you advice. From the physical body, you get this impulse to make an adjustment. Know that it's the physical innate intelligence that is guiding you, that is responding to this intention. So make these adjustments in the physical body as mindfully as you can, so that you can feel that you are touching the space of meditation, even with the physical body. Adjust the body so you feel comfortable, as well as stability within the physical body. Eventually, you arrive at a degree of confidence of the posture being conducive to meditation. Then gently, consciously scan the body, making direct contact with the signs arising in those different parts of the body, through which we enhance the meditation experience itself. The legs, feel the stability, feel the comfort. Rejoice in the cooperation of the legs. Bring attention to the torso. Feel the alertness as well as the comfort. Rejoice. Bring attention to the shoulders and arms and hands. Feel their cooperative efforts, giving you a sense of evenness, relaxation, lack of tension. Rejoice. Bring attention to the head and neck. Feel a sense of being centered. Let the mouth, teeth, tongue rest in their natural places. Be aware of how the eyes are resting, whether completely closed, slightly opened, halfway open, fully open, staring upward, whichever gives you a sense of entering and deepening the meditative state. And feeling the overall readiness of the physical body, then gently bring your attention to the breath, the bridge between the outer and the inner. And just stay with the breath, holding your intention, not ordering things to happen, but just holding the intention. And notice tiny points of collapsing taking place within the physical body, where you were not aware of slight tensions here and there, and now they were collapsing. As they collapse, they enter deeper into calm, pleasantness, rejoice. And with that happening, the breath is slightly changing its behavior, approaching closer to meditation, where there's a palpable calming taking place. And simultaneously with that calming, there is a pleasantness arising in the very behavior of the breath. Rejoice. And due to attending to these signs with physically present in the body, in the breath, you feel the mind entering into those same experiences of calm and pleasantness. Feel yourself ready, as though the different dimensions have aligned themselves and ready to fully enter meditation. With that, gently, fully breathe in, hold the breath, intensifying your determination to enter meditation. And when you're ready, release the breath. And as you release the breath, feel yourself going deeper into the signs of calm and pleasantness, deeper into the signs of clarity and radiance. And at the end of the breath, stay and leave the breath alone. Let the breath return to its own rhythm when the breath wishes to return. But stay with the calm, stay with the pleasantness, stay with the signs that are enhancing. Then you may feel the energetic body, if you were not aware of it before, now cooperating, moving, so that you can go even deeper within the meditative state. And for the second time, gently, fully breathe in, hold the breath, intensifying your intention to enter deeper into meditation, deeper into the signs, and release. And as you release, feel yourself physically, energetically going deeper into the signs, mentally going deeper into the signs. Rejoice, and at the end of the exhalation, stay and leave the breath alone. And the sensations may now be even stronger. the calm, the pleasantness. Perhaps inner sensations are already presenting themselves into whatever sense they usually arise for you. Inner seeing, inner hearing, inner sense of touch. No need to do anything about them. Acknowledge them, rejoice. These signs that are going deeper. And for the third, gently, fully again, breathe in, hold, intensifying your determination to enter, intensifying your commitment to fully enter into meditation, and release. And as you release again, feel yourself going deeper into the signs. And at the end of that breath, have the conviction, have the sense of confidence that you are indeed right now abiding in a more subtle level, more powerful level of consciousness, of your own consciousness. Therefore, closer to your own innate, immeasurable, authentic power. And hold there your intention to have as deeper of an understanding of this concept, this idea, this experience called love. Let it be understood in a palpable way, physically, energetically, emotionally, conceptually, and non-conceptually. And whatever aspect within us that will make it possible, connect to that aspect. Feel its presence deep within your center and call it forth, call it to come to the presence of your senses so you can feel it, have a sense of seeing it, has a sense of hearing it. So that aspect within you that will make you fully, deeply appreciate, deeply understand love towards that. Have deep respect, trust, and gratitude. And keep repeating these, the trust, the respect, the gratitude, trust, respect, gratitude, and feel these various sentiments taking you deeper still within calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into clarity, deeper into radiance, deeper into focus. feeling a sense of readiness, and wanting to stay connected to that within you that will help you have a deeper appreciation, a deeper understanding. Bring that sense of presence back into the center of into your center, and feel its radiating presence throughout all the dimensions of you. Okay, get ready to come out of the meditation with that sense of readiness. Notice the signs, notice the presence, notice the strength, the calm, the pleasantness, and through the inner sensations, which are indirectly pointing to clarity, to radiance. Notice their strength. Rejoice that you are indeed, in some measure, in meditation. Indeed, are now abiding in a powerful consciousness, and you have access to it. And with that reassurance, make the intention to come out. Take a nice deep breath, and gently release. And as you release, deliberately reconnect with your immediate surroundings through the sense of touch. Deliberately reconnect to the sense of hearing. Deliberately reconnect to the sense of sight. Okay. I hope that was a good readiness for the talk that we're about to do. I would like to begin with defining love in a way that I think I've been defining for quite some time, but I want to bring it back again. Remember, I said a few times in the past that when we are talking about love, we're not just talking about sentiments. When we are talking about love, we are think that what we are doing right now is hardcore physics. We're talking about the very fabric of reality. I don't mean it in that very sort of new agey way of understanding, like mixing the way we already understand love as some sort of emotion, as some sort of sentiment, and then taking that and trying to force physics to come to terms with it. That's not what I'm referring to. But in the same way that we have this sort of emotional and this kind of sentimental understanding of love, I want you to not completely throw it out, but keep it somewhere in the background, but without trying to force it onto what we are referring to as the physics of reality. Physics of reality, I'm talking about the very nature that allows reality to be reality. Okay. What is it about reality that makes it exist? Okay. That's what I'm going to ask you, is the physics of reality. Okay. And then keep in mind somewhere in the background the kind of sentimental, the kind of emotional understanding that we have about the word love. Before we even go further, what we are translating as the word love is a term that we are calling the term metta, okay, which is Pali. Maitri is the closest that I can pronounce to Sanskrit. Okay. Jamyang is the Jamba is the Tibetan. Well, this is not a language lesson, but the reason for making the distinction, giving you this, bringing up these different words, is that they're not really all talking about the same feeling. And with the English language, the word love is somewhat confusing. That's why there are so many poems trying to describe love, and then end up basically, they make us feel good with the words, but actually they don't really give us a definite sense of what you might call a definite definition of what love is supposed to be. So they use words to make us relive the emotion, you could say, but not necessarily giving us, okay, this is the words you can use that each time when you talk about love. You cannot say, oh, I love this. You cannot directly translate, oh, I love this movie with the word meta. You cannot say, I meta this movie, okay? It doesn't make sense to say, I meta this movie. But you can use the word love because of its multifaceted nuance of ways of understanding, right? So, but we don't have a word that fully encompasses the meaning of metta, but love comes closest to it. Because of the many dimensions of the way we understand that word love, then parts of its understanding, parts of its meaning can go into metta, but it doesn't fully cover metta. Okay. So metta is always other focus. It's always other focus, and by other focus, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not like a sacrifice of its own happiness. Metta doesn't have that. But other focus, but rather than say other focus, you could say it's self-focus. I'm not talking about ego focus, egocentric. But wherever there is a proper self, metta is relating with that self. Whether the reason I'm saying self is there is self here and there is self there. And it's a way of relating, it's a way of considering when it encounters it, whether the self that is encountered is myself, or whether the self that is encountered is other self, yourself, his self, their selves. Okay, but wherever there's a self, it's a way of relating with it. And what is that way of relating? It's a way of it's a deep concern, a deep aspiration that self encounters happiness, that self abides in happiness, that self has experiences of happiness. Okay. Now, before we go into, I'm not going to make this into we try as much as we can not to make these talks into philosophical talks, but unfortunately, philosophy, they never mind their business. They're everywhere. They're into everybody's business. So we have to see philosophy's foot in the room. Okay, so so we're not going to fully talk about because especially in the West, when we talk about love, we go into the Greek philosophy of presenting the different kinds of love. Okay, agape, eros, and whatever else that there is. Okay, so we're not going to go into those kinds of things. Right? But I'm mentioning it now, just in case you're expecting it, that you will not be disappointed. Okay, that's it. That's all the mention that we're going to have with those kinds of things. Okay, with those kinds of approach to love, but rather we want to take a completely bold approach towards love, a completely I want you to really open your mind to understand love in a completely different way. And now, love's aim is aspiring and doing something that will connect self with happiness, whether the self is myself or the self is other self. Okay, love is that which wants those two to connect. Now, why does love want those two to connect? Because I'm going to redefine happiness now to help us. I'm going to redefine a bunch of things. I'm going to redefine happiness. So what is happiness? What is it you could say is happening that gives rise to the experience of happiness? And the reason I had to mention the foot of philosophy in the room, because when you talk about happiness and love, then there's the eros and the agape and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So the happiness that I'm referring to here is not what we might call, I think we do make that distinction in a way that we all sort of have can arrive at an agreement. Okay. There's a difference between happiness and pleasure, right? We all see a big distinction between those two. So the eros and agape and all that kind of stuff, they're trying to say, okay, when it's for a pleasure, when it's for that, and it's a different word. So love is concerned with happiness, not pleasure. Okay, metta is concerned with happiness, not pleasure. So now, what is the physics? What is the physics of happiness? What is going on that gives rise to happiness? No, it's not biological. It is physics, not because of certain hormones firing and blending and mixing and some sort of chemical thing happening, then happiness. No, happiness is when the self is abiding in its true nature or approaches its true nature. So really take that, really consider that. What is happiness? Because wherever there is a self, you can define self as that which seeks happiness, that which avoids pain. And how do we define happiness? The authentic nature of self. So self is that which abides, that which seeks to abide in its authentic nature. And what is pain for self? Distance from its authentic nature. Okay. So don't think of happiness as a reward, as something added to the self because it did something, but rather the natural state of the self when it is not distant from its authentic nature is happiness. Okay. Happiness is abiding when the self abides in its authentic nature. Okay, so it's not something that is given to it because it did something. It's not a result. Okay, pleasure is a result, and because it is a result, it is completely dependent on whatever the source of that was. Okay, that's why it is unreliable. Pleasure is unreliable. Unreliable in a sense, it's unreliable to give the same experience of happiness. We cannot rely on pleasure to give the experience of happiness because pleasure is other dependent. Well, happiness is the natural outcome of abiding in one's authentic nature. So when one is not feeling happy, that means you're not abiding in your authentic nature. So take yourself back to your authentic nature and you will be happy. Okay. Now, love, now we have to go, since happiness is the aim of love, it wants self to be redirected towards its authentic nature. And the happiness the pleasure that we experience, it has semblances of happiness. It's like a mirror of happiness. It's like a taste of happiness. It's like a simile. I'm not sure if I'm using that word correctly. It resembles happiness. So pleasure is more like a reminder of what happiness could be. Okay, so when you are having an experience that is an experience of elation, appearance that you could say is pleasurable, pleasurable meaning it's eventually going to end. So what it does, it reminds you of what happiness is, so that you can, especially because of the trauma that self experiences. So what is the trauma? And don't try to find a point in time when it happened. Forget about point in time, okay? That is completely irrelevant. Not just irrelevant, but try to allow your mind to really be able to sit with it, okay? This has nothing to do with a definite point in time, okay? But there's the trauma that the self experiences is distance from its authentic nature. Distance from an authentic nature creates a trauma for the self. Okay. And due to this trauma, not abiding in authentic nature, then there arises this thirst to be whole, to reconnect with authentic nature. So this wanting to reconnect to authentic nature is that is the activity of being, to abide, to look for authentic nature, which naturally gives rise to what we call happiness, and then to stay in it, to look for it, to find it, and to stay in it. Okay, so if you haven't yet found, if you have not found it, you are looking for it. Whether you are one of those philosophers who can't stand the word happiness or not, even your endeavor, even your activity to criticize the search for happiness is your search for happiness. Okay? So you can't get away from it because you are a being. That is the very definition of a being. If you're not abiding in your authentic nature, by definition, you're looking for it. Even when you're criticizing happiness, that is for you a way of trying to find happiness. Okay. So either you're looking or you found it and you're abiding within it. Okay. When you have a conscious knowing this is authentic nature and I am abiding in it, then you have reached a degree of what you might call liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from the trajectory of having been thrown off your authentic nature. Okay. Now, so that is the love that we understand as what you might call the emotional sentiment. What I was describing, even though it sounded like I was very philosophical, even though it sounded like I was being very non-emotional, but what I was describing was the emotional movement. Like when you are feeling love, that's what's going on. I am wanting to go and find and abide in my true nature. I am wanting so and so to find their true nature, to abide in their authentic nature. That's what it means to love someone. To love someone means I want you to abide in happiness. And what is happiness? Abiding in your authentic nature. Now, we're going to go into another one. Now, so this is what you might call the love that is an active love. Okay, an activity. Now, there is a love that is not active at all, but rather just completely stable, completely unmoving. Now, I'm gonna try to make a connection here, okay? So if I lose you, I apologize, because I may lose myself in trying to explain it to you. Okay. All right. So there is the love that we experience. We say, I love. That is the active part. Like I am witnessing. I am experiencing a shift away from authentic nature, and I want to address it. I want to correct it. That's what it is when you say, I love. Okay. I love you. I want you to abide in your authentic nature. And when I do something to help you do that, to help you to be happy, I'm helping you. I'm trying to get you to your authentic nature. Okay. Then a kind of a why may happen. How did the straying away from authentic nature happen? Remember, forget about time. There's no point. It's not a point in time where we understand point in time like 2 million years ago, 5 universes ago. Nothing like that. Okay. It could have been. It could be. It could have been. Listen now, and I'm not. Even though my English grammar is very bad, I know what I'm about to say is not bad grammar. Okay. It could have been right now. Okay. Okay. So what is now we're going to go into what is existence, and what does love got to do with defining existence? What love got to do with this? Okay. What is existence? Existence, when you from what you might call primary observation, meaning if you're able to have a primary observation of existence prior to any other thing that happens after that, it's like a raw observation, okay, without any filters whatsoever, without any of our bias, without any of our understanding, a raw observation of existence. What is it that will be observing? Will we be observing pure interdependence, pure interrelating? That's what existence is. Existence is interrelating. And this interrelating is absolute. By absolute, there is not anything that any part of existence that you will observe that is not itself some kind of interrelating. You're not going to be able to strip it down to any observation where you're not say, okay, this is where there is no interrelating. If the very fact of whatever that is that exists is an interplay of absolute interrelating. And it is because of this absolute interrelating, it is impossible to find any one thing. It is impossible to find any absolute one thing. Okay. An example would be one thing is the planet. A planet is a one thing. And what is that one thing? It's made of a bunch of things. And then whenever you arrive at one thing, it's a bunch of things. It's an interrelating. Okay. So what is this interrelating? Now, this is from the Prajnaparamita Sutra, the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. The sutra, the discourse, which is supposed to be the prime discourse on explaining wisdom, right? And there's one of there are many versions of the Prajnaparamita Sutra, and one of the versions, I forgot which one, I think it's the 25,000 line, where, no, I didn't read all 25,000 lines. Actually, we did, actually. My teacher made us read. It was some sort of purification thing where, well, I didn't read the entire thing myself, but we took turns. I read so many pages, and someone else came and continued until, as a group, we read the entire thing. Okay, it was very nice. So within that, the perfection, one of the versions of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, where it is talking about trying to it is defining wisdom. What is wisdom? An understanding of the true nature of reality, an understanding of reality as it is. And what is it that this understanding is observing? It is observing pure interdependence. And it cannot find in anywhere in reality where interdependence is not there. So when you say reality, you're saying interrelating, interdependence, interrelating. Those two things are synonymous with each other. Okay. Now, what is this thing? What is interrelating? And this is where love is coming, okay? Love is, believe it or not, this is preparation to talk about love. What is this interrelating? And the absolute beauty of it. So wherever there is an identity or this thing exists, what you are observing is complete selflessness. What you're observing is complete selflessness. What you are observing is an interrelatedness give rise the appearance to an identity, and another set of interrelatedness give rise to another identity. And each identity decides to lose identity so a third thing can emerge. So it's like at the very fundamental fabric of existence. By fundamental fabric, I mean the very principle upon which existing is made possible, or reality is made possible. There is what you may call absolute spoiling. Like what you call it? What you call the parent who spoils their children? What do you call that kind of parent? Spoiling parent? You know, think of it this way to understand.
Indulgent?
It. What was that? Indulgent?
No.
Maybe. indulgent.
Or permissive.
Yeah. Permissive. Yes. Okay. All right. So since by I mean by identity, me, you, the thing, sense by its very essence, it is not a thing to be found, but rather a complete, absolute interrelating. So, meaning there, as far as the universe is concerned, as far as the fabric of the universe is concerned, okay? And the words that are coming in my mind to try to convey to you are sounding too philosophical, and that's what I'm trying to stay away from. Okay, I'm not being philosophical. Okay, I have to tie some sort of emotion in it. Let's first deal with the parent, so we can get into the readily emotional experience, right? There's a kind of parent, you could say, spoils their children. What does that mean, they spoil their children? Whatever the child wants, that the child believes, oh, this will make me happy, I want it, the parent gives it to the child. So don't think about a parent who's just don't want to be bothered, doesn't have the patience to actually talk with the child and say, well, you know, this is not really going to make you happy. I'm not talking about that kind of a parent. Okay, take that out of your mind. Okay, the parent just wants the child to be happy, and the child is convinced this thing will make it happy, and the parent allows it to happen. Okay, so before we go into what actually happens to the child, just stay with here. Okay, the parent, which is existence, the fabric of existence, of existing, of reality, is like that spoiled parent. Whatever any sense of self wishes to experience, it is free to experience it. Remember, the self is looking to be happy. And if the self believes that I'm going to be happy if I do this, and I'm not talking about necessarily deliberately thinking, I am going to be happy if I go to samsara. I am going to be happy if I develop hate. Okay, there isn't this conscious deliberation going on, but there is this impulse, because of the very nature of being a being, to do what you believe, what you're convinced will make you happy. Or what is happy? I will come to abide in my authentic nature. Okay, so the very interdependence, the very absolute interdependence fabric makes it possible. So you could say it allows for all possible kinds of experiences. And we can sort of summarize all possible experiences into two kinds: samsaric and nirvanic. Okay. The fabric of absolute interdependence, absolute interrelating, makes it possible for all possible experiences, even the experience of not abiding in your authentic nature. And this is where it's going to sound very, 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 very philosophical, especially the kind of Buddhist philosophy that I hate to talk about. But I'm forced to talk about it. I'm forced to present it. Because in an absolute way, there is never absolute self to suffer. So it's like the parent understands the child who is playing is not meeting with actual things that could actually harm it. So the parent allows the child to play with those toys. Okay. Because the parent knows that the child cannot really be harmed. Okay, this is the hypothetical, idealistic thing, okay? We're not talking about an act, the way we experience, there are actual things that actually hurt the child, that the parent, we're not talking about that. So now we're sort of mixing things to sort of get the understanding from an experiential, from experientially. That's why I'm mentioning parent. That is, a parent wants the child to be happy. Now think of the parent as being the universe itself. The universe wants all beings to be happy. And don't think of the universe as a person or thing like that, okay? So the very fabric, the very interdependence, the very nature of interrelating is set up for abiding in one's authentic self and having many experiences within that. Even the experience of being distant from one's authentic self. Now, since there is no absolute self in the first place, so you could say the universe as a parent is not afraid that some actual harm is going to happen to the self. Since there is no absolute self in the first place, there is no absolute self that becomes happy. There's no absolute self that gets to suffer in the first place, because that is the nature. Let me make it a bit more mystical and more. And I have to say, there's a danger of misunderstanding this, and then you go to a different direction. But because this is what I'm gonna repeat what Ananda said to one of the kings who was a very big supporter of the Buddha, who was on his deathbed and was terrified of dying. And Ananda told him, what you really are is not something that can be confined to any concept. What you really are is not, and when you hear that, what you really are, unfortunately, the habit of the mind thinks of something that you are. Okay, so don't go into the danger of some specific thing that you are. Okay, being that we are, in essence, freedom itself. In essence, we are freedom itself. What does that mean? We can experience whatever we can have. We are unlimited to experience me as this, as that, as small, as big, as universal, as tiny, as minute, as micro. And in none of these experiences is the totality of us, is the true us. The true us is just that freedom to be able to have all these experiences. Okay? Since we are freedom itself, so whatever we are experiencing from the parent side, knowing that you're pure freedom itself. So when you are appearing to suffering, it's not you, the true you is somehow in harm's way and then is suffering. Okay. And this allowing for this kinds of experience to take place is, you want to play. Go ahead and play, because it will make you happy. Because the reason that you want to play is because you're looking to be happy. Or you believe this will make you happy. Okay, go ahead and try to connect with happiness through that. maybe towards the end, I'll add a little spice to what I've just said. Okay, but in a practical sense, when you're not fully, what's that word? Firmly, yeah. When you're not firmly abiding in your authentic nature, unshakably abiding in your authentic nature. What does that mean? Somehow you are abiding in on the fact that you are pure freedom itself. Able to abide in knowing that you are pure freedom itself. And as pure freedom, you are able to have unlimited experiences of pleasures as opposed to happiness, and experiences of pains. And all these are possibilities. It's not so much that, oh, look at pain over there, let me go experience it. This new agey thing, I don't agree with it. That's, oh, look at that, there's pain over there, I'm gonna go over there because I need it. No. You happen to find that. And by real pain, I'm not talking about, I know some of you Buddhist people say, oh, you mean self-existently real? No, we're not talking about self-existent, real, anything. Throw that word out, self-existently, okay? Reality. When you're having an experience, that is reality, okay? Whether you're being delusional, then you're having a real experience of delusion, okay? That's your reality. Your reality is delusional reality. So I'm not trying to make try not to make separate reality into, oh, there's the real reality and there's the fake reality. There's no such thing. There's no such division of reality, a real reality and a fake reality. And we want to get out of the fake reality into the real reality. Okay. We are already in reality. You're either in reality abiding in your authentic nature, or you're in reality and not abiding in your authentic nature. Both of them are, you're in reality. And the absolute interdependence, absolute interrelating doesn't go away somewhere. There isn't a place in reality where it can go where there is no experience of interrelating. The very fact of interrelating is itself reality. Okay? All right, so the permission of the fabric of reality that allows for all experiences where every experience are coming together. Not only is it a coming together, but at the same time, it's a letting go. Okay. There is the appearance, it's like the freedom takes on the appearance of a limitedness, or what you might call a specific identity. But because it is not absolutely that identity, then freedom can let go of the identity in order to create a new identity. This capacity, this ability of reality this interdependence is what the Prajnaparamita, remember I started talking about in the Prajnaparamita? Yeah, I'm back to it. I was all this time explaining it. In the Prajnaparamita Sutra, it equates interdependence with love. So this, when you're observing interdependence, you're observing love. I know your very nature is freedom itself, and you want to go into that direction because you believe it will give you the experience of happiness. And I want you to be happy, so go ahead, have the experience. And even though on the surface, what you interrelate, the kind of interrelating that you get yourself involved with gives rise to an experience that you call pain. The universe allows it. Because remember, a being is not by instinct, by definition, ever looking for pain. It is always looking for happiness. And because of the nature of being and the nature of reality being absolute interrelating, then infinite multitudes of experiences become possible. And this is where some realized beings trying to communicate that everything is love, but presenting love in the way that we understand love, not fully first explaining what they mean, how they're understanding love, so that when we hear everything is love, then we say, oh, you mean that guy making that other guy suffer, that's love? But when we are asking the question, we are asking the question from a perspective of love, where there is a consciously trying to connect one another, a self, with happiness. And when we are observing, wait a minute, this person is not consciously trying to connect that person with happiness. That person is deliberately trying to connect that person with pain. But that person is doing that thinking that that will make that person happy. That's why that person is doing it. That person is not necessarily doing it because that person is completely convinced that that somehow it is not going to experience some sort of satisfaction, some kind of happiness. No being, it is impossible for a being to deliberately go to what is painful. And then I know there's the example of the, what you call those kinds of people? Masochists, right? That's what they're called, masochists. The thing is, masochists find pleasure in what we call pain. They're not looking for absolute pain. They're looking for pleasure. It's just their method, their means of getting to it. Okay? So my presentation that all beings, no matter what they're doing, they're looking for happiness, still stands. Okay? And of course, because we do not abide in our authentic nature, that means we don't have wisdom, because that's what wisdom is, knowing your authentic nature. Because we do not have wisdom, we are not abiding in our authentic nature, then the methods that we engage in thinking that will make us happy, we end up deluding ourselves, deceiving ourselves. Now, this is probably the headiest presentation of love you've ever heard. You thought you were coming, ooh, kumbaya, I feel good, love, ooh, I love you. You thought perhaps that's what you thought you were coming through. Instead, I may give you a headache. Okay. Now, here's the soft thing that you probably need to hear. So if we approach this from this perspective, if it exists, love allows it to exist. The principle of love is what allows it to exist. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're having pain, you're supposed to try to force yourself to love the pain. And in a way of deluding yourself, deceiving yourself about the pain. But know that there, think of, you are so free, your nature is so free, and the universe that you are a part of allows you to have all experiences. Even though this is an experience that once you're having it, you don't want it, it is still coming from that absolute interrelatedness. And this absolute interrelatedness is, let me put it in a softer way. Whenever you see anything exists, it means a sacrifice of self happened. The sacrifice of an appearance of a selfhood, an identity happened. And that's what, because of this sacrifice, that's why we're able to have this, whatever it is that exists is existing. This interrelating is a constant dance of death and birth, where things willingly accept death so that birth can take place, birth of whatever can take place. So that willingness to accept death, so that sense a pursuit for happiness can so that a pursuit of happiness can be allowed to take place. Isn't that love? Where, and we know what happens with the experience of identity. When an identity comes in, the identity doesn't want to go away. It wants to stay. And yet, it is willing to go away, looking at a new possible experience of happiness, which is not connected to those identities anymore, but is connected to a new identity, so that new identity that is given birth to can experience happiness. Okay, here's the headache is making your heart soft a little bit. Okay. Now, when you have sort of this understanding of love and you want to connect to it, and there's these exercises that you do, these meditations, the Brahma Viharas, the sublime states, the sublime abidings that you do, where the way you begin is you begin with the self that is myself. Genuinely wishing, wanting, aspiring, seeing that you yourself is deserving of happiness. Now, when you don't think of happiness of something that you will be given, whether or not you deserve it or not, but when you think of it as you're deserving of finally finding rest in your authentic nature. And there are things that you will encounter that will be like reminders of that. That's the pleasures. There are things that will be reminders of that. And when you encounter them and they do give you pleasure, they do give you a remembrance of happiness, you are thankful to them, but they cannot give you that happiness, because that happiness is abiding in your true nature. So take their hint, appreciate the reminder that they give you, And if it's someone, then you could say that someone had to relinquish an identity so that you can have the experience that just arose within you, a memory of, remembering authentic nature, a sense of touching happiness. Then it's just like two very good friends helping each other on the road, supporting each other, helping each other, being the source of strength at one time for the other. So in the same way, the friend, the other, helped you to make contact with that memory of what authentic nature is like, that happiness. Then you in turn wish it for the other, for the friend. That is, you do something, say something that will help them connect, that will help them be reminded of what it is to abide in their true nature. And by engaging in this, by making your life an engagement in this, where you're guiding yourself to your authentic nature, helping others connect with your authentic nature. And I'm not talking about giving philosophical speeches on the square. So about doing things that you know, this will make this person happy. Let's put it that way. And what is that happiness? It's not the authentic lasting happiness, but it is a reminder for that person so that they can do what they need to do, so that they can be, my authentic nature, I almost forgot it. I almost got lost into this misery where I began to fully identify as being this misery. Now I'm realizing that this is not my only experience that I can have. And notice when one is experiencing happiness, there is a sense of touching that nature I'm referring to as pure freedom. There's a freedom that you experience when you're happy, right? There's a sense of freedom that you experience when you're happy. And when we basically doing what we can to help others connect, I'm still in that framework of being very as if I'm giving a lecture on physics, but do the things that helps others connect to happiness. Allow the heart, that wish to help others connect with happiness, allow it to expand, allow it to clarify your perspective, your perception, so that you can say, if that I can see this person is connected with happiness when they have this and that contact. I will, when the opportunity comes for me to do something, I want to be able to connect that person to that. Okay, that person likes that movie, I'll take that person to that movie. That person likes that food, I'll take that person to that. And knowing these are not the absolute true happiness, but rather they're like mirrors. Remember your true nature. That's what these happinesses, the moments of experience of happiness, that's what they are. Remember your true nature. Remember your true nature. Remember your true nature. Here, have some happiness. And when we allow ourselves to live this way, where we are looking for, how can I make so-and-so happy? How can I help so-and-so to be happy? We are without deliberately taking ourselves there, we are, what's that word? Indirectly taking ourselves there. Because when we are abiding in when we are abiding in that caring for others' happiness, that becomes our instinct. No matter who approaches us, no matter what they do to us, we want to have the instinct, I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. When we hold that instinct, there is something within the other that will make them recognize something. And they will recognize that they are recognizing it through contact with you. and you become no longer a threat to them. So they don't need to put up defenses. They don't need to attack you before they are attacked by you. There's a sense of being safe with you because you're abiding truly in that space. So they feel that they can allow themselves to be vulnerable with you. They can talk with you about things that they might be very ashamed or very uncomfortable to talk about with someone else, but that is very important for them to speak about because they feel that they're in a safe place, because they feel that you're holding them with a mind, with a heart that really wants them to be happy. They can feel it. Okay. And because you are abiding in that space, that becomes your path to your liberation. That means your path that is a way of adjusting yourself so that you can get closer and closer to abiding in your authentic nature. And this is the, what did I say? Spice. And this, I will add a spice towards the end. So since I'm giving you the spicy thing, that means we're reaching the end. When you've heard of crazy wisdom, right? Crazy wisdom yogis. They are crazy only from our perspective. Because they are abiding in their true nature, and they are firmly abiding in their true nature. They are immovable from their true nature. Then, remember the child not really knowing, thinking, oh, look at this beautiful thing. It is so pretty. Let me touch it. And the fire burns. The fire burned because the child is not abiding in authentic nature. But the yogi, abiding in authentic nature, sees the fire. Oh, that's cute. I want to experience touching it. And not moving from authentic nature, then the yogi can grab the fire. Oh, it feels burning. Oh, that's a nice thing. That's an interesting sensation. Okay. So what you want to do in the very beginning, experiencing limitless experiences, but you are limited in really being able to experience them because we are not abiding in our true nature. It is not that these experiences must be completely shunned forever, but you can arrive at a state of being where you can really have truly unlimited experiences. You can grab fire and not be burned, but stay in your happy state. I remember someone mentioning something about evolution of technology. Eventually, maybe a million years in the future, technology will be so advanced that we'll create some sort of machine that we can actually go into the sun. And someone else say, what about evolution being that we evolve to such a degree that we don't need a machine. We can actually go into the sun and invite friends. Come, I'm having a picnic in the sun. Oh, all right, I'll join you. And you're both able to sit there and enjoy being in the sun. That's an example of what I mean by when you're abiding in your true nature, you're really truly free to even have those experiences that you could not have when you are not abiding in your true nature, and not experience pain, which is distance from your true nature. Okay. And that's it. Sorry, I didn't make anybody cry about love. Instead, I made you probably crying because you have such a headache. And believe it or not, the reason I I'm giving this approach because the soft approach makes you feel good, and then you go home, you still feel good, and it's gone. And we're back to the same world where we are causing each other to suffer. We're back with doubts. Should I make that person happy, or is it good to make that person suffer? Okay. But to really look at it as when you love, you're basically fulfilling, you're in alignment with the universe. You're fulfilling the aim of the universe. And when you truly align with that, you really become the most powerful being that could ever exist. There will be many of you, but you will be the most powerful. Okay. All right, that's really it. Now you can ask questions.
Yes, let's open it up. I know I have like 100 questions, but let's open
Okay,
the
let's start
floor
with one.
too.
One day I'll be able to hear all 100 at once. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start. Well, one question was relating to compassion from last session, where
Mm-hmm.
compassion you framed as the energy that helps you or helps the self, maybe whatever self, move
Mm-hmm.
back toward alignment with the
Mm-hmm.
true nature of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you're framing love is love um, like emptiness, and then compassion is the force that brings you into alignment.
I didn't want to say it, but there you go. You're saying it. That's it. That's what I've been trying to say.
Okay, just to
Isn't it
make
beautiful?
sure.
He just summarized my hour and a half into a few words. Yes, love is the emptiness, and compassion is movement, moving through that emptiness.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then my other question is about attachment. So like how you said where we can do acts of kindness for people,
Mm-hmm.
and we're showing them or like reminding them of what
Mm-hmm.
happiness is. But
Mm-hmm.
a big thing that happens, of course, is that we get attached to thinking that, oh, that person is the reason for my happiness or this object or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you suggest being kind to people and also managing that response that can
Mm-hmm.
happen? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, you can say a couple of things. The attachment itself is a kind of a desperation. I think I have found what I've been looking for from the depth of my being, and I don't want to let it go. I'm afraid of letting it go because having let it go, uh, it has been so traumatic for me, and I want to go through that experience again. So that's what, and that's what attachment is coming from. I don't want to lose what I have found, which I value so much, and knowing not being with it, how traumatic that was. But a way to remind yourself, so a way of being able to let go is that once you really find happiness, it is impossible to lose it. Because happiness is aligning yourself with your true nature. Once you find your true nature, it is impossible to lose it. So when you're having that experience where it seems like attachment, because that moment of attachment is painful because there is the dread of losing. That's what attachment is. Attachment is living in the dread of losing what you think was making you happy. Okay, so and that is a very painful experience itself. So the very fact that there is pain is to remind you, I didn't really find happiness yet, but that experience reminded me of what it could be when I find happiness, and that will begin to lessen the reactive response of grasping. Okay? Because it remind yourself what is the mechanism of the grasping of the attachment itself. It is a conviction. I found it, and I don't want to lose it anymore. So if the conviction is I have found it, then you're going to continue to grasp. So that is the part that you have to undo. I didn't really find it yet. That was a reminder of what it could be. That was a picture of it. That was a taste of it. And I'm grateful because it really was wonderful to have that experience. Okay. So since this thing, whatever it is, this experience, this event that is was able to create that memory within me to give that reminder is incapable of being able to stay there and hold it and keep that happiness. It is not able to do so. So I cannot demand it of it to do so because it is not able to do so. The very fact that it is not doing, that is not continuing, is its inability to do so.
Mm.
Okay, and you just go through these kinds of reminders of yourself so that the habit of grasping attachment will become lesser and lesser, and eventually you'll find a contentment. It's like is it like that? You found you found someone, right? And you're very happy with that person, but things didn't work out. And the very fact that things didn't work out means that perhaps that wasn't the person in the first place. So I mean, the sense of there is a person, when I'm with that person, I will be very happy. And then you meet someone, you think, oh, maybe that person is the person. But in your very experience with that person, that is not the experience that you're actually experiencing. So that means that person is not this person, the person who's supposed to make you happy.
Mm.
Okay. So now that you have discovered this is not the person to make me happy, then love comes in and say, oh, then you should go find the person who will make you happy. Let's give each other the space now so that we can find that person who will make us happy. So that is bringing love into it. I want you to be happy. You want me to be happy. I want me to be happy. You want you to be happy. And the dynamic is not the dynamic that creates that happiness. And
Mm.
I want you to, you should be free to go find that happiness. And I should be free to go find that happiness. That's an example, you could say, rather than, no, this is the person, no, this is the person, when your experience, and this is not the experience that you're having.
And love will not direct you, but compassion will direct you.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, is it true that once you find real, true, sustainable happiness, you cannot forget it?
You cannot not experience, you cannot, it will not stop.
Hmm. Okay, I have more, but I'm gonna hand over the
I,
phone.
I'd love to actually continue on Nazam's heels and ask you, Phuntsok, about, can you talk about the words just the and I it's not in a way of trying to be over philosophical. I know you don't like that anyway. Um, but that there's a sense of abiding in juxtaposition and in the quality of, you talk about interrelating, and also the idea of oneness, that there's not one thing but it is all one thing, and there's a juxtaposition there, and part of the pain that we experience is this illusion of separateness because of the need for reality and existence to have this interrelatedness as experience. um, is there some path of, you were giving the example of let's say losing somebody, but part of that is an illusion too, in terms of what loss is, and in terms of even the fact that something goes away in a sense that is so separate from you that it doesn't exist anymore. That there's an illusion there. What practice or what words or what keys, what ideas would you guide us with towards allowing a kind of awaking from that illusion?
Okay. So it's in your observation, let your observation also be a reminder of the absolute interrelatedness. So be very deliberate in observing interrelatedness. Like, even especially when there's a stark, unique oneness, one thing, a separateness, in this case, is appearing, and then try to see interrelatedness in that. So that begins to break the barrier, and think of every appearance, every appearance. How do you say that? To bring in divine makes it softer and make it have a better impact. Okay, so every appearance is divine allowance. Okay, every appearance is a divine allowance. So when you approach it from that perspective, like someone is saying or doing something that is giving rise to pain within you, then if you have that perspective towards every experience, that person is a divine allowance, this pain is a divine allowance. So that will help you to connect to what is beyond that, so that we're not stuck in the immediate appearance, which is giving us a sense of separate, which might be referred to as a separation. So and it's not like go look for pain, go look for difficult people so you can have an experience of pain so you can do this practice. But you don't have to go look for it. It will find you. Okay, so when it naturally comes up, and you find yourself that, the painful experience, you could say, is somehow it's like a magnet pulls us into an experience of separateness, absolute duality, non-connectedness. And then when we are pulled into that and we are being forced to stay, that is the pain, is what we experience as unwanted pain, right? But if we are able to, while the pain is still there, while the appearance, the existence of the thing, when we begin to say, oh, it exists, oh, it is divinely allowed, and then that will connect you to something beyond the oneness, the non-duality. It connects you to something much bigger, so that knowing that just like everything else come and goes, this will come and go. And whatever it doesn't mean that if you have the knowing to make a change, because everything is its nature changeable. Some are easier to change than others, but they're all changeable in some fashion. So if you're able to immediately create a change, doesn't mean that to suspend that. but it must come from a kind of an intuition, a kind of an inner knowing that of the manner of which to engage it to create the change. So the person is in pain, the person in pain causing pain, the person is actually blindly seeking contentment, happiness, but is blindly putting their hands where the fire is, and they keep going back and not knowing where the fire is not. So that is why they are causing pain. And if you're able to move away from that, you're still experiencing it. And that very moving away from that, connected to something bigger, you could say, will give you the clarity. Oh, okay, this is how I can adjust this person. I can guide this person so that they don't keep putting their hand into the fire, but they can actually find what they're looking for. Okay. All right. I hope that addressed it a little bit. Okay.
I wanted to say thank you first for the teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to share like an observation that I made today and then ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
So the observation was at the park, I was looking at the sky, and in front of the clouds there was trees. And on the concept of this interrelation, I saw how both of them kind of resembled each other in ways where it's like the trees were just a slower version. I guess like if they're both explosions, the trees were like slower explosions, and then the clouds were like maybe explosions that appeared a bit more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess my conclusion was that the appearance of stability came from this slower appearing of the trees versus the quicker appearing of the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like everything I looked at had that quality of like being some sort of like explosion from a point, just like in different ways. And the actual question that I had is like, I have an old friend that I recently like spoke to, and it's on this point of like dropping identity, picking up an identity because you see that something you do makes someone happy. And my friend really likes football. I don't enjoy football anymore. I used to like it a lot, but I don't enjoy watching it as much. And he's so tied to the like version of me that like used to like football. And in our conversations, it was about a match that happened, and I didn't know how to relate where I saw this is connecting him with happiness. But at the same time, this is something that I made an active effort to like distance myself from. So when you're in that space where you can see that there's an opportunity to connect this person with happiness through this thing, but you yourself are not in a place where you want to connect with that. So how do you get to a point where you're more flexible in your ability to pick up an identity when it's necessary to help someone?
Yeah. So with this specific example, knowing that so far in your relationship with this person, that person connects to happiness through discussions or engaging with football. But for the Americans, by the way, that's soccer.
Oh yes, soccer, not American football.
And knowing that this is not a harmful thing. Like, if that person is so obsessed with football that they neglect other parts of their lives, they neglect their family, they neglect their own health, then there's a different approach. But if that person's life is sort of balanced, and this may be this is a good way for this person to be able to deal with stress, whatever stress life gives them. So it's part of their health. Okay. Now, and as far as you are concerned, if connecting with football doesn't create cliches within you, if connecting with football doesn't lead you to put your life in jeopardy, especially when others are involved, okay? Then even though it's not something that you necessarily want to do, but you want to have this connection with this person. I'm talking about from the Bodhisattva perspective. The Bodhisattva wants to make connections with everyone, in whatever way, that healthy way that they can make that connection. Because when you have a connection with someone, then it facilitates your capacity to help each other evolve. So when you evolve, you're able to bring that person with you because of that connection that you establish. And this is one way that you can make that connection. And so you can, and the sacrificing of identity so that you can give rise to another identity, you can contemplate, just really try to focus on how this person is really happy when they have this, when they're talking about football, when they are in football, and you become like a child, not a child, I mean, you become like a parent watching the child enjoying themselves playing. Okay, you don't necessarily want the child to stop playing. Oh, that's not real, but you yourself gain an enjoyment knowing that the child is happy doing that. So try to connect with, this person really enjoyed this. This person is happy. And then you look for actual signs. They're not forcing themselves to watch it. They're not forcing themselves. They're not in pain and hiding it. But you actually are witnessing them, that they actually have a sense of being made, connecting with an experience of happiness. And just by focusing on that, you will find yourself able to let go of your own displeasure for football and able to engage in. And of course, you don't want to lie to them, to tell them that you are in the same mindset that they are. Okay? You don't want to disappoint them because they think that, oh, this person loves football just like I love football. You don't want to give them that, but you want to, what you want them to feel is that I want you to be happy, and I'm doing this because it makes you happy. And it makes me happy knowing that it makes you happy. Okay. And that person will in turn will say, oh, this person doesn't really like football that much. I will limit this engaging with football. He likes baseball. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's really late. It's 10 past 10, a bit past 10. And especially for Musanda, was very early in the mornings for him. Probably the sun is coming out now or something. Oh, woo! Sorry. Thank you so much for coming live to participate. Thank you for your questions. And as always, I do eventually get to them. I'm making more of an effort now. If you have questions that is more in depth, you can either schedule a time where we can talk, or you can send me a question in an email or something like that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Right, let's do a closing meditation. It will be the same meditation, but I will add a little spice to it. Right, so bring into conscious awareness that you want to enter meditation, and feel the response from all the different parts of you also wanting to enter meditation. Allow them their own definition of meditation. Feel the physical responding cooperatively, rejoice. Feel the calm, the pleasantness, the stability arising in the physical body. Feel the breath responding cooperatively, beginning to touch calm, beginning to touch pleasantness. Since your most recent meditation wasn't so far away, if you can recall the experience, just remembering, just staying in the memory. My body felt this way, my breath felt this way, energetically I felt this way. And just by recalling, because it happened so not so long ago, you begin to re-experience them physically, energetically, mentally, until there's an actual taste of the meditative state. And once you have that, let's take a nice deep breath to stabilize, gently, fully breathe in, hold, stabilizing, really feeling it, and release. And let yourself fall into that experience, completely absorbed into that experience. Now that you're re-experiencing the sense of being in meditation, the pleasantness, the calm, the clarity, the radiance, feel the sense, feel self, me. And know this is divinely allowed. Whatever is something that is permitted by the very nature, the very fundamental nature. It is indeed an expression of Buddha nature, the Tathagata Garbha. It's not something hiding Tathagata Garbha. It is something that is itself Tathagata Garbha, Buddha nature. And at the same time, this is just an expression where beyond this is just pure freedom. And feel all of us sitting in a circle wherever you are. And look at all the different expressions of Tathagata Garbha. You could say, from one perspective, Buddha nature is one, but from an absolute perspective, calling it one is just a concept. It is truly beyond what we can conceive, what we can bring, what can be expressed. Like Ananda said to the king, "What you are, my king, is not anything that can be expressed by any concept." So oneness, otherness, all those are just concepts. But without completely losing that, we are all Tathagata Garbha. So in that, feel a different sense of self, selfhood, where each expression is just a part of something much grander. My body is a part of a grander self. Your body is a part of a grander self. A self that we can all experience. And let that expand. This realization manifests as a presence, as an appearance, a bright light in the center. And as we are including every appearance, the furniture in your room, your pets, your neighbors, the trees, everything that appears is divinely allowed. Let it expand until there's a sense of all is wrapped up in this presence of a ball of light. And the instinct of your right hand going to help the left, saying, I'm helping myself. We feel that instinct for every appearance. That's me helping myself. To help the trees, to help the ocean, to help the lives that live in the ocean, to help the land, the grass, and the lives that live on the grass and the land, to help the clouds, the sky, the mountains. And try to find that sense of oneness that is beyond the concept of oneness. Now that it is somewhat stable, we don't need an appearance to remind us. So the appearance of that one just giant ball of light begins to shrink. And as it shrinks, the multifaceted appearances begin to reappear. But they reappear with a glow, a shine. The clouds have a shine. The skies has a different shine. The trees, the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, the different lives, and us. And it gets into just a ball of light in the center of our circle. And now, no longer needing that to remind us, it becomes split into the number of us that is present. And into each one of us, a ray of light enters. And now we have that realization very stable. When I sincerely help myself, I help all. When I sincerely help all, I help myself. And feel the joy that comes with that. We are tasting, that joy is a tasting of our true nature, approaching it. And go back to just the space of the meditation, the calm, the pleasantness in the body, the breath, the mind. Rejoice, you are in meditation. Feeling the merit of the meditation, dedicated. And now, let's arise from the meditation. Take a nice deep breath. Gently, fully breathe in. Hold, ready to come out. Breathe out. And as you are breathing out, deliberately reconnect with your immediate surroundings. Begin to feel the temperature of the room, the feel of your clothing. Begin to deliberately hear the different sounds and deliberately notice this is color, this is shape, this is light, this is shadow.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you so much, Phuntsok. Love you.
Love you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh, since this is a talk on love, I can say, I love you.